I got to take a deep breath first. Man, I am so proud of this football team. Hats off to Cincinnati. They're a really good football team. We felt that all week long and talked about it. We thought it was going to be a four-quarter game. But, man, I'm so proud of this team. We early in the game, we lost Chapman Lewis. He tweaked his hamstring, and we felt like we couldn't get him back. And then Jordan Sanford comes out and messes up his hand, so he's got to go in and at halftime. So Plunk comes out and finishes the half. So we go through three free safeties. Come out the second half, we got Jordan Plunk back. Plunk comes out, mess up his shoulder. I feel like he's going to be okay, but got his shoulder pretty good. So Jordan had to go back out there, and man, he almost came up with a big interception, but it just kept going back and forth. And then on offense, man, can't say enough. We shuffled the line. I think as this line goes with those five and really kind of six with Ty Buchanan, we're going to keep getting better. Taj Brooks was Taj Brooks. It's something that we're all accustomed to seeing the last 2 years. He goes for 172 and man, was really special tonight. And I thought Barron stepped up and made some big throws, we had some guys that made some big catches. It was great to see Josh Kelly get going because I felt like in the first quarter, first couple of possessions for us, they were really trying to take him away, and he found ways to make plays. Dre McCray came up big tonight. Had 5 catches. Coy, came up big tonight, had 2 touchdowns. So, man, it was just all around a really good game, and it's all around a Big 12 game. That's what it's going to be. It seems like every single week, and man, it's good to be 2-0 in the Big 12, be 4-1, and we'll enjoy this one, and then we'll just get ready for a heck of a game against Arizona in Arizona. With that, questions.
Coach, as you mentioned, a lot of guys went down on defense, but Ben Roberts really stepped up, had a big game. I think he had 12 tackles, a forced fumble, the quarterback pressure on that pick 6. What did you think about his performance?
Man, we're at that position is deep. Coach Bookbinder does a really good job, but Ben, again, he's one of those guys that every single week, comes up big. That was the pressure on the pick 6 was huge. The cause fumble and us recovering was huge, and he's such a good football player. He's got such a high football IQ. You could put him in a lot of spots, and he's going to succeed and be a really, really good football player for us.
Coach, on that final possession for them, you're able to take advantage of, I'd say, a mistake from their coaching staff. You slow sub when they sub. I think took off another 13 seconds, probably took away a play. That bit you in 22 against Oklahoma State, I remember. I guess what was the thought process trying to just take off those seconds, take advantage when you could?
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, we there was one drive we oversubbed, but that's one thing that we practice a lot, and it's coming from the box as soon as they start seeing somebody come off. And, in those situations, man, 1 second to, ever how many seconds it was is so critical, and we were able to get a guy. The great thing, too, with us to be able to do that is you got to be deep enough in the defensive line to do it. We've got 6 guys that we feel like can play. I think 5 of them played tonight. And so it's really not like you're not in a panic that you're putting somebody in there that's not going to, be able to make a play. I thought that was really big. I thought the defense, too, right there at the end, that we felt like their kick line was right at the 35. We got them – they got to the 32. So it was definitely a little bit ahead of their kick line. But I thought that was big to make them kick as long a field goal as they could to try to tie it up.
Coach, of course, in that first half and throughout the game, your defense gave up a lot of yardage and big plays and whatnot. But what was the message to them to keep them in the game to the point in the second half where they got those 2 takeaways that pretty much turned the game completely in our favor?
Yeah, that's a really good question from the standpoint of it seemed like all their scores tonight were big plays. They stopped us on 4th down, and the very next play they score, we don't wall number 2. We don't walk out on number 2. they motioned over. They were 3-by-1. They motioned over 2-by-2, and our outside linebacker, didn't adjust. So we got a free run. There's a touchdown. They go with a screen pass for a 71-yard touchdown, and we take the easy ways, going underneath blocks instead of over the top, and it just goes back those big plays. I mean, anytime you have big plays in games like that, first thing you was like, hey, blown coverages. It wasn't that. It just always goes back to fundamental football of setting edges. We hit the quarterback, but we're not sacking the quarterback, and so now we're hanging our secondary out to dry because they're having to cover longer than what they should have to cover. Part of that is we're not containing the quarterback, we definitely, whenever a week from now, I've got to do a good job because Arizona's quarterback can really move in the pocket. And so many of those big plays where it just goes back to just fundamental of like not setting edges, not containing the football, letting the coverage, they have to cover longer than what they should have, and that quarterback did a really good job tonight. He's a good football player. I will say this, going back to that though, he hadn't turned the ball over at all. We're able to get a pick six. What's crazy is Jordan probably intercepts the ball too if he doesn't hurt his hand, and we have to. He kind of had a half cast on it, and he probably catches that clean. So even though we didn't sack him, we did cause some mistakes that helped us win the game.
Coach, it just seemed like a lot was clicking for Barron tonight. I think the throw that really stood out to me was the 30-yarder to Kelly at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Just processing and placement was just all of it was clicking tonight. I guess, do you feel like this was his most complete game of the season so far?
He just keeps getting better. He's making some really good decisions. We had some checks tonight that were really big. I think he's getting, really had a couple big runs too. That he feels really comfortable. I think he feels really good. And so he's doing some things, and I think he'll just continue to do that, the better. But I do think the one thing right now, he's operating in a really high level as far as seeing the field, seeing what we want him to do with the ball. I mean, if you go back, there's one drive that we have to kick the field goal. We dropped 3 balls. One of them was a touchdown, and you catch, any of those balls, we probably score, but you don't drop the one, going in. I mean, that's a touchdown, and all 3 balls were catchable balls. He put it on them, and, it happens. That's football. You're going to drop balls. You're going to, we got to go to what's next. But he was really throwing the ball well tonight because I think he was so he was 19 to 29. So you take those 3 right there, and he's even in a better position.
Coach, talk about Zach Kitley and his balanced play calling. 251 yards in passing, 231 yards in rushing, and being able to score on 7 of 9 drives.
Yeah, I think the one thing, Kit is doing a really good job of understanding what the game. That's a big thing. We have a staff meeting before we have our final walkthrough, and we go through things. And I asked the coaches, like, let's figure out what kind of game it is, and let's adapt, and let's attack it that way. I think he is doing a phenomenal job of seeing what they're giving us, calling plays into it. And then, guys, I've said it, since spring football, our skill is totally different than what it was the first 2 years as far as making ability. And then you have Taj Brooks, he's the best running back in college football. Without a doubt. I mean, he is the best total back in college football. The way he rushes the football, the way he catches the ball out of the backfield, I think he's the most physical, picking up any kind of blitz, helping chip in on pass block, and he's the best in college football, and he's on our team. And so whenever you have that combination, it's tough on defensive coordinators to decide what you're going to try to take away. And Zach's taking advantage of it.
So, Coach, throughout the homestand, the red zone defense was arguably better than throughout the drive, right? What kind of concept or idea changed from DeRuyter and you when you get to the red zone? Because today we saw that Cincinnati was able to get to the red zone, but then you limit them to 3 instead of 6. What can you take away from this?
Yeah, and that was a big trying to really get a lot better in the red zone from game 1 and 2 to where we are now. I think our guys understand that there's a sense of urgency wherever you're at on the field, but there's a bigger sense of urgency. I think that we're condensing the field. That red zone really condenses the field, so our guys are playing into that. I do think, even though there were times we didn't set edges and we let the quarterback get out, I think we're tackling well. Besides that long 71-yard run, we didn't tackle anybody. But I think we're tackling a lot better, and they're really tackling well in the red zone. So we're making guys take snaps, and that's the biggest thing, man. We talk about it all the time. We're constantly talking about it throughout the game of, like, what kind of game it is. We're scoring right now. Make them drive the football. I think we kicked the field goal, and we got the ball with 7:50. They got the ball with 7:50 left in the fourth quarter. We got the ball back with 3:24. So at least whenever they did score, it wasn't like a big play. They had to take seconds off the clock, and a lot of that is being better in the red zone.
Hi, Coach.
Hey.
There is still one game going on right now, but there's only 3 2-0 teams in the Big 12, yourself, your buddy Dion, and BYU. How valuable was it to get off to this 2-0 start tonight?
Yeah, it's huge, and we talked about it. There's an opportunity out there, and we, you're coming in and you had 2 1-0 teams, and somebody was going to leave here being 1-1, and somebody's going to be 2-0, and really have a leg up in the Big 12. And I got to see the score with Dion. Man, they must have played really, really well. I got to see a lot of the BYU game, and they're playing at a really high level right now. And so it's one of those deals of you got to take advantage of it, because the Big 12 is going to be like this. I heard Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State coach, talk about it last week, and it's almost like every time you look up, you're like, man, look at that score. Wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. It's like that throughout the conference, and whether it's 44-41 or if it's we win by 21 points. I don't care. I just want to win. And that's what that locker room is just find a way to win games. And we're finding ways to win games right now.
Coach, speaking with Coy Aiken at the beginning of the season, he said that he and Barron have really gotten closer over the offseason. And obviously that's on full display, especially here tonight. 2 touchdown receptions. Should have had 3.
Yeah.
What have you seen from that just development of Coy over these 3 years, coming back from some injuries as well, and really shining?
Man, Coy's like I don't know if he ever needs a break, and he never goes. It's not a deal that he ever is not going full speed. They have a new stat on PFF to where you can see. Now we track it with our guys, with our GPS and everything, but they've started tracking it of how many times it's 15 miles an hour, and then how many times guys go over 20 miles per hour. But the 15 mile per hour mark is like how hard these guys are playing throughout the game. And Coy has the most 15 mile per hour plays on our football team. He's probably got as high as anybody in the country. The guy just plays so hard. And is physical and breaks tackles. And, again, those two have a good relationship, and they've got some good chemistry, but it's fun to watch because, Dre McCray has got good chemistry with and had a good night tonight. And then you can see Josh Kelly every single week's got good chemistry with him. And so it just says a lot about all those guys, and I'm telling you, man, you come over to the sideline, they're locked in. It is really right now a team playing off of each other. Whether it's we give up a score, it's kind of one of those deals tonight. If they scored, we at least got a field goal out of our next possession. It seemed like, besides the last one, and that kept at least us to where it was harder and harder to get to where they couldn't get the lead.
Finish with Don in the middle.
Joey, regarding Coy, that 40-yard touchdown pass, kind of had those 2 guys crossing, meshing in the middle. Caleb Douglas, we talked about, has had some good big plays on shallow cross. Have y'all kind of discovered, is that becoming a pretty big play element of your offense?
Yeah, that's one of Mike Leach's old staples. Anytime you got mesh and some of the stuff like that. I mean, they have such a good feel for those plays, and especially with Caleb and Coy, because they are big targets, so they're easy to see. And Coy, I think all these guys, but like the one thing, the yards after catch, like Coy had 52 yards after catch. Josh Kelly had 43 yards after catch. Dre McCray had 14 yards after catch. So they're also, they're physical and trying to bring them down.
Throw to Coy, fourth quarter down there near the end zone got hit high. Did you or any of your staff people have a good look at that? Did you thought it should have been reviewed?
No, the one thing is every play like that's being reviewed. So sometimes it's being reviewed, or a lot of times it's being reviewed at the Rock, and they don't feel like, hey, it's a clean play, so they don't have to go to review with the officials and talk it through it. I mean, until I see it, but it's a lot of times they don't miss to where they're going to call targeting, so it must have been a clean play, and guy, it was a bang play. The guy came over. It was a very physical play, and that's what this game's all about. And I'm glad Coy's okay.
And looking ahead to Arizona next week, obviously McMillan being one of the top receivers in the country, with the challenges that y'all have had getting to the quarterback and with your secondary being banged up tonight, what is the challenge to get ready to play those guys?
There's been some. I'm really anxious to watch film. I'm anxious to see how Utah plays them tonight. Utah's really, really good in the secondary, so I'm kind of anxious to see their scheme. I know early in the season, he's going to catch the ball. I think he'll. If he's not the first receiver drafted, I don't know who it is. I mean, he's a number one draft pick. You've got to understand that he's going to catch the ball. Take everybody else away, but there's some guys out there that have doubled him at certain times. We just got to see some of what they're doing schematically, and we do feel like that there's a chance for us to get healthier. Lux is trending in a really good direction. We didn't feel like we could play him tonight, but we're hoping we get him back, and that always helps. And I think Macho's done some really good things. I think Mo Horn's playing really well, but we're gonna have to sit down and see when can we double him. We got possibly try to get physical with him at the line of scrimmage, maybe with an outside linebacker wherever they put him. But they're a really good football team, and that quarterback does a really good job.
All right, thanks, Coach.
I got one more right back here. It's all right, brother.
How are you?
Good, man.
You kind of touched on it a little bit. Just talk about the adversity you guys faced. Obviously, going down 14-3 kind of early on. You guys never backed down. You guys kept up that mentality of, hey, we're still in this. Just talk about the mental toughness and the adversity of this team, especially on a night like tonight where you learn a lot about your ball club going forward.
Yeah, one of the biggest things right now that we've kind of shifted into over the last 3 weeks is, just one thing I tell them coming out of the locker room is just focus on the first quarter. Be in this moment, and we'll figure out what the second quarter looks like when we get there. But we've been talking more about rounds than quarters, and coming out, and they've done a really good job. They have scored 52 points coming into this game, 52 points, only allowing 6 in the first quarter. They've been really good coming out of half, and so we were aware of that. We knew that it was going to be a kind of a back and forth game because they're really talented and they're good. And their offensive line, they've got a really good offensive line. They're an old group. I think they returned to 5 guys, that started for them last year, and the quarterback can really throw the ball. But it's one of those deals like it is, man. It's just like, just keep punching, just keep throwing body blows and stay in the fight, and good things are going to happen. All right. Thank y'all.
Ben, you were all over the place. 12 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, quarterback hurry, forced fumble. What were you seeing today that you saw from film that were able to make you so effective?
I think it just comes down to watching a lot of it. It's not that I'm seeing certain things going, oh, I know the play's going here. Like in some cases, yes, but a lot of it's just instinct at that point. After you watch a certain amount of film, you just kind of react.
AJ, what were you thinking? What's going through your mind as the ball gets to you and you're heading to the end zone?
I'm thinking straight crib. Whole time is in my head. I see the ball. First thing I'm thinking, I'm finna take it to the house.
Obviously, your first pick as a Red Raider under these the atmosphere. You know, what does it mean to your defense for a big play like that to help out your offense, especially when they were playing great today?
Yeah, I think it just it turned the game around, and then like it makes people. I mean, it made our team like wanna finish the game strong. Gave us a little cushion. It's just a great feeling, man.
AJ, I'm curious about after the pick six, if anybody mentioned anything to you about the last time you had a pick six here.
Yeah, no, the whole sideline. They brought it back up to my attention, talking about the blackouts, night games. It's just, I guess it's something that just comes to me, I guess.
And I just remember going back to spring. I mean, a lot of the talk was about just that kind of ongoing competition with you and BJ at Star. But, I mean, it seems like both of you have been pretty consistent in that role. Just what has that been like for you, just knowing that y'all are able to kind of bounce off of each other and just really keep it going, no matter, which one of y'all's on the field?
Yeah, no, it's amazing to have somebody else come in and, there ain't going to be no drop-off, because BJ, he's a great player. And so, like, being able to rotate how we do, it keeps both of us fresh, both of us being able to play fast. So, yeah.
Ben, on that call on the pick six, you're right in the quarterback's face, and it seemed like it was a pretty good call from the coordinator. You get a free lane off their pass protection scheme, and I guess what was your thought process trying to get to the quarterback to end up setting up AJ?
I was a little late on that blitz, actually, so it kind of worked out. If I was a little earlier, I might have had a sack, which would have been nice, but being a little late helped him out, and 6 points better than a sack.
I guess it's a question for both of you. You guys were down 11 very early in the game in that first quarter. What was the defensive focus or like change you guys worked on to eventually slow down the Cincinnati attack?
Yeah, no, I think that we came out a little slow, but we realized quick that we got to pick it up and we got to continue to fight, or it was going to be a long game for us. The mindset is around the whole defense. You could see like we didn't want that to happen, so we picked it up. We started flying around and playing some good D.
And then one more. You held Cincinnati to 129 yards rushing. It's been getting better every week in terms of stopping the run, and that's probably the biggest thing is to limit the time of possession. What has improved from y'all, at least from this 3-game homestand, so, starting at UNT all the way through, for this rushing, attack on the defense?
It's been a big focus for us recently, especially with QB runs and things of that nature. But just swarming, getting people to the ball, not just making it a solo tackle. If everybody runs to the ball, we're going to be able to stop the run no matter what happens.
For either of you guys, I know Take 3 University forcing some turnovers tonight. As far as the interception, that was the first turnover forced by that quarterback on this year. For a team who does not turn the ball over very often, what was I guess the drills like? I guess this week, knowing that hey, if we get a turnover or two, things could go really well for us.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
It was really just communication. It's always a big focus for us each week to communicate, and it's always a focus to take the ball away. So we're always trying to dial that in no matter who we're playing. And he's good with the ball. He protects it. So getting a rush there, getting him to make a bad decision really helped us.
Considering you two guys played a lot of snaps, so what was the emotion when you're when Cincinnati's lining up for the field goal to tie it, and then the emotion when you don't have to play overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy that they missed it. I was happy that we forced them to kick the field goal, and then watching them miss it, it's just a whole feeling just came through my body. Like, it was a great game. We fought hard for this win. I could feel like I could say the same for everybody else on the team. Like, it's just a happy feeling, that we accomplished what we came here to do.
Anything else for these two? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll go with Sean and Justin.
Baron, first you have your first safety blanket with Taj. Now you've got Coy. Very balanced scheme today on yardage. What does it say to be able to get the yards that Taj gets and then be able to know that when you're running around looking for somebody, Coy's going to be open?
Yeah, going into the game, we knew that they were going to give us a 5-man box, and so we knew that we were going to lean on 28 heavy. We had a great week of preparation. We knew going in exactly what they were going to do on defense. We came out hot. We were moving the ball really well the whole game. But that's just a pat on the back to the O-line. We knew what they were going to do. We executed at a high level, and then also, getting that run game going is also going to bring, receivers to be open too, because they got to stop one or the other. And so, to have, Coy, known Coy for a long time, so to have, that relationship with Coy is really neat.
And Coy, 2 touchdown catches. What was going through your mind on that drop?
On the drop, yeah. I hate it. It's gonna bother me for a long time. It's just how I am. If I mess up on something little like that, then I don't know. They're gonna definitely rub it in my face a couple times. But it's just definitely what's next. And you can't let it affect your game at all. Just gotta keep going.
Taj, on that final drive, you were able to churn clock, doing what you do best. What is the offensive line doing to help you get those first guys to miss?
Definitely, they strain more this week going into practice and then the game. You can see it. I asked Barron, it's crazy. I just asked Barron, I was like, how you feel? He was like, I feel great. I barely got touched, and that's a kudos to our O-line. The things they did, the pickups they did, and it's just great feeling.
One of those times you did get pressure, you really reset your feet and hit Kelly on that post curl, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Then you moved the sticks on maybe a second or third down, kept the drive alive in the fourth quarter. I guess that was something that I really hadn't seen in your game so far, and I was really impressed with how you're able to navigate the pocket. I guess how'd that feel to move the sticks and keep the offense on the field in that situation?
Yeah, we were great on third downs tonight. We were 9 of 14, which is pretty good. But yeah, just extending drives, that was the big key. After week and week, on third down we got to execute. Everyone's going to get in a third down position, but Coach Kitley did a great job, scheming them up. The whole game we kind of said, hey, we got everything. We got what we want. We just got to go out and execute. And, we did our job, and we executed, and we moved the ball well.
Baron, I asked Coach McGuire the same question, but I want to kind of ask you the same thing too. Do you feel like, just from looking at it holistically, just processing placement, just everything tonight, do you feel like this is your most complete game that you've played to this point?
Yeah, I would just say, I don't go into a game, expecting to play my best game ever. I want to do what's needed to win the game. And, tonight, I felt like I did a good job of getting us in some good run boxes when I was checking the plays. But kudos to the offense, the whole offense. I can't do what I do without, the other 10 guys. So just hats off to them.
I saw that big smile when you were running in for that second touchdown. What was going through your head as you saw all that open grass?
It's a great feeling. It's happened a couple times this season, which I can't think enough. when I came around and made that dude miss, it just kind of was just like oh wow, I got 30 yards of just clear space, but it was definitely a good feeling.
For Barron, 0 sacks allowed. How does that help open your the pass game?
Yeah, I mean, tremendously. With Taj in the backfield too, got 6 guys protecting, and by each and every week, our O-line is getting better and better and better, and it's just because they're getting to play more snaps with each other. So week by week, we got to keep getting better. And I know that this team is really hungry, and we're going to come out, firing next week in Arizona.
We'll go next is,
Barron. So Cincinnati has number 2 and number 97, very lethal pass rushers. What was y'all's game plan to eliminate them from wrecking the game for you guys?
Yeah, that was for sure the best defensive line we've seen this year. But back again to that O-line. I mean, this week we knew we were going to see number 97. Preseason All-American number 2 is a stud. They're great players too. It's fun to compete against them. But at the end of the day, we kind of just, sat down and understood, this is what we're going to do. We're going to execute it to our best ability. So really proud of the way the offense, played with facing some really good talent.
And for Taj, this was by statistics your best game so far this year. What was different compared to all the rest? Like, what were you seeing? Because your ball carrier vision was the best so far.
It's really, I would just say, just being consistent during my preparation in the week and just taking what's given. Those three-yard runs, those 3-yard runs can turn into 8+ yard runs. So really just taking what was given from the defense and just trying to be an explosive back.
And then last question. Coy, last year at the Cal Bowl game, that was kind of your breakout game at Tech. And now it's translated into this 2024 season, and you've been phenomenal. How have you developed over this spring and summer now into now?
Well, I mean, it's just the fact that I broke 2 collarbones in a matter of 6 months, and it was just kind of like trusting my body and like traffic and things like that, and then going out and playing confident, and then having a quarterback that trusts me throughout the year, and us building that relationship. And then this year having 2 camps where I was completely healthy and making it through gave me a lot of confidence going into the season. Kind of just gave me a better start to the season than last year.
I know you just touched on it. Can you touch on it a little more? I mean, being able to come back from some of those injuries, and you said that you spent some more time going with Barron and really kind of sharpening that relationship as well. And now you guys have a very explosive wide receiver room. What has that been like to be able to not only come back, but now be able to thrive amongst all this talent?
I mean, it's amazing. It shows that hard work pays off. It was hard coming back from injury twice, especially if you break it 3 days into camp. And then, building confidence throughout the year. Anytime Barron wants to throw, I'm there. He can just give me a call, give me a text. I'll show up. Things like that will help out a lot. And then to be surrounded by guys like Josh Kelly and Caleb W. just makes me better because it's like, okay, like, dang, I mean, he made a good play. Okay, I want to go make a good play too. So we definitely feed off each other in that way.
We'll go next to Jarrett and finish with Don.
Cool, I know you just kind of talked about it, just, the feeling of wanting to make big plays, like being in a receiver room kind of like that. I mean, obviously, Josh gets a lot of attention, but, I mean, CD's had some great catches. You have as well. Just how do you feel like all of you as a whole just really kind of complement each other?
Well, I mean, I think I'm talking for all 3 of us. Really, the whole wide receiver room, really doesn't matter who gets the ball. It really doesn't matter who makes a play as long as we're winning games. Like, I mean, we're 4-1. I mean, that's a great feeling. So, I mean, if it wasn't the receiver that had 2 touchdowns tonight, it would have been like, okay, we're 4-1. Let's go get it. But, I mean, it definitely makes all of us better. I mean, it's not like a competitive thing. Like, if someone scores, like, we're like, oh, like, I'm happy for him. And I know CD and Kells are happy for me when I score. But, I mean, it just makes us all better when we're at practice competing with each other.
Coy, on a play, fourth quarter down there toward the north end zone where you took the big hit and got lit up, where did you feel the contact, and did you think it was targeting?
I don't really remember if it was targeting or not, but all I felt was just hit my chest. The ground hurt more than anything, but, I mean, it was just like just happens in football, so just got to get back up.
You haven't run a whole lot this year. Tonight you ran the football 2 or 3 times when really effective. Was that something y'all expected to see going into this week, or how did that kind of develop?
Yeah, I mean, every week when I hand the ball off to Taj, I'm always reading backside. And there's some plays that we're still on the backside, but tonight we knew that 97 and all those defensive ends they're going to spill pretty hard, so be ready to pull the ball. And they kind of wanted to stop Taj, which I understand. So I mean, just opened up a big alley. And one of the other plays was a speed option. Was supposed to be. There was just no one there, so I kind of just took it and run.
For any of you guys, you beat ACU by 1 point. You beat Arizona State by 8 points. You win this one by 3 points. How much more comfortable, perhaps, are y'all getting in close games that are going down to the wire, and how much does it help that you've played in some games like this and come through?
Yeah, I think that's just a props to Coach McGuire. He does a great job of making sure we understand what kind of football game we're in. Fourth quarter comes around, it's a new round, and it's the last round of the fight. So, we got to go out there and jump out early. Fourth quarter, fourth quarter, to win a game in the fourth quarter, you're going to win a lot of ball games. You win the fourth quarter. So I think it just goes back to, our preparation throughout the week, putting in 2-minute spots, doing things throughout the week that's going to get us in scenarios like that.
And for any of you guys, or maybe Taj, we've seen throughout 3 tight ends on the field a good bit here early in the season. I don't remember seeing that 3 tight end kind of overload that y'all used tonight, where all 3 guys were there outside the right tackle. How long have y'all been working on that?
I would say for a minute, probably since the season started. We have like different type of formations for those guys, and just kudos to those guys. I'm sorry. They do things that you don't see on the paper and things like that. Like Mace had a big catch, and it's just, and then Jayla got a good first down for us. So just kudos to those guys.